So the video that I made on Sunday morning after 298 talking about how my audio was muted when Ian Garry made his walk to the octagon and during the entire fight, I thought was going to be my last Ian Garry video because I am really getting tired, and we can see it in the numbers across YouTube, social media, that there isn't that much interest in this kid anymore. This is probably going to be my last video on this subject unless something interesting or crazy happens, and you never know when you have that sort of craziness hanging around as your manager slash wife. Anything can happen, and that's what this video is about. I was sent this video by Guru the Musical. It has 1 million views over on Twitter, and it's a PR disaster. It's absolutely insane. It plays into what we're all talking about in terms of this kid and his PR team and his wife and this whole scenario. He doesn't do himself any favors, and it's kind of hard not to talk about him either, because when you have the likes of Bisping, the Weighing In podcast, Ariel Helwani, Brendan Schaub, all talking about him because he fought on the weekend, and you hear some of the stuff that they say, you kind of feel like reacting a bit. You know, you kind of feel like saying, whoa, what's going on here? So we look a little bit at what Ariel has to say and a little bit about what Brendan Schaub has to say, and we're going to look at this mental video. Before we get into it, if you could hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Boost the algorithm, get me back in the spin of things, and that would be cool, as I said. Cheers. A shout out to Guru the Musical, posted this, sent it over to me. As you can see, 1 million views. He says in his tweet, Layla uploaded Ian Garry crying in her Insta. Every single thing they post is a PR disaster. Her conniving smile, checking to see if the camera is still rolling. Hashtag Ian Garry, hashtag WAG, right? Cool. I don't know what they are thinking with this video. I really have no idea what they were thinking. And if you actually see the footage from UFC, they really played into this Ian Garry and his wife thing. So they suppressed the sound on Saturday night. Couldn't hear the people booing. Apparently, Michael Bisping said that in all his years commentating and fighting in UFC, he has never heard a crowd so loud. He has never heard such venomous boos throughout the arena. Make of that what you will, but I thought that was interesting because we didn't get to hear it over here. But besides the fact that we couldn't hear all the booing, UFC leaned into it and kept scanning back to her and panning the camera over to her. She was standing there on her own, clapping her hands like a seal. And she actually looked quite evil during them interactions as well. So that leads us into this mental case of a video. Ian Garry goes in there, does his thing, runs away from Jeff Neal for about 15 minutes, gets a very thin decision in terms of the win. Bisping, Weighing In podcast, Brendan Schaub all thought that, yeah, it was very thin, and if it had went to Jeff Neal, we wouldn't really have had a problem with it. Ian Garry comes out and says that he dominated. He thinks that the judges should be sacked for a decision that was split. But this one flew under the radar for me. I didn't spot it. Let's have a little look at this PR stunt. As you can see here, we have Daniel Rodriguez. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why he's in the corner. As we know, Ian Garry doesn't really have a team. He has a couple of lads that he paid to come over from Brazil that don't even speak English, and he's there doing the fake Portuguese language thing, so I don't know what's going on there. So you have Daniel Rodriguez, who we fought 2 fights ago, was it? Kind of embarrassed him as well, like running up to the fight, doing all these pranks that were instigated by his bird and the PR system that's behind Ian Garry. So this is the newest video. Let's have a little look. What? What's going on there? So we have Daniel Rodriguez, who got pucked by Ian Garry a few months ago. He's standing there with his arm around him going, oh man, how did I get roped into this? And like there's somebody like actually standing there holding a camera on him, and he's obviously uncomfortable as hell because Ian is like crouched over, bawling, crying apparently or something. His bird is standing there dolled up to the neck, looking out the corner of her eye to see if everything is still being filmed, and wondering how good this is going to look for PR and whether this is going to rejuvenate the fans or something. Let's have one more little look. Watch Daniel Rodriguez looking absolutely embarrassed. Why does she look so evil? That was a commonplace thread with UFC leaning into it the other night, like. So there you have another PR disaster from Ian Garry and his team. His bird looks like a mental case, looking out the corner of her eye, making somebody stand up and video them. Daniel Rodriguez is kind of looking out the corner of his eye going, oh boys, what's happening here? And that gets put out on social media and you're not supposed to ridicule it. Like, she's got some serious influence over this guy and what goes into the public ether, and it's not very good. Not very good at all. So I just want to jump over here real quick and talk about how the narrative has been spun by Ariel Helwani, Brendan Schaub, apparently because Ian couldn't lean into being a heel and doesn't really like the fact that he's being booed, even though that he says that it doesn't bother him, that I'm winning, that I'm doing what I want to do. And we saw during the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, the little snippets that were audible over the booing, you could hear him say things like, I used to be in the crowd just like you, and now look at where I am, I'm following my dream. It's like, are you trying to win the crowd over here? Are you trying to make them feel sorry for you after all the shit that you did? And I don't want to cover old territory, but I'm not subscribing to this bullshit of like, people just hate him, man. They just hate him. They don't want to see him do well. He brought it on himself. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going down the route of everything that he did or that he didn't do. I'm just telling you now that I do not subscribe to that bullshit narrative of people are hating on him, so now it's time to back him. No. Not doing that. Absolutely not. So here we have Ariel bolstering the narrative of he's just a good guy who the internet turned against.
I think you're a very good person who has done nothing wrong. You're not a criminal. You have not done anything to offend anyone, to upset anyone.
Nope.
But I think you have made a conscious decision to say, hey, people want to boo me. I'm going to lean in now. I'll flip you off. I'll say this and that. But deep down inside, you're not that guy. Now, I appreciate you doing this. I think this is a good move. That what you're doing on Saturday was smart. You have to do that. Don't resist it. Lean in. But there's a part of me that wonders if deep down, like, you're having this internal conflict, because I know you're not that guy. You're not a villain. You're not a heel, as they say in the wrestling business. Is this a struggle for you at all?
No, I mean, the truth is, Ariel.
So Ian goes on to regurgitate what he said in a bunch of different interviews last week. The truth is, I'm living my dream. I want to fight. I'm doing what I love. I don't care. Cool, right? We get it. Ariel is a smart little dude, right? He knows what's going on. He knows that this is eating up Ian Garry. And he was trying to be as objective there as he could, whilst glazing him, whilst saying, you've done nothing wrong. I don't understand all the hate. You've done nothing wrong. You're not a criminal. You haven't done anything bad to people. So he ignored all the stuff with Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, Vicente Luque, all that horrible stuff. That was all ignored, and we're pushing the narrative and you're a really good guy. But in the same breath, I'll kind of call you out and call bullshit on what you're saying. And I thought that was an interesting narrative. Even if we jump over here to Brendan Schaub, let's see, does he bolster the idea that Ian Garry is just this great guy that the internet went after?
I think he just needs to get past this. Now, he gets on the mic. It was not good.
No shit.
I think he's actually a good person, and that, you know, he wants to be Conor McGregor. Remember, Conor McGregor was never the heel. Conor McGregor never wanted to be like the evil guy, that shit starter. He believed so much in himself. The shit that he talked, it made sense to us, and it was inspiring. Ian Garry's problem is he wanted to be similar to Conor McGregor, but the crowd and the fan base and the internet has decided to make him a heel. And he doesn't want to be the heel, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So he gets on the mic. He's like, you can boo me all I want. I was in the crowd. I was sitting where you are. Now you're watching me. So he's just not built to be this like evil guy in the UFC. Like Colby Covington ran with this. He's just not wired that way. But the audience and the fan base has forced him, the UFC as well, has forced him into that. So it's not organic.
Interesting observation by Brendan Schaub, very same as the Ariel Helwani and myself. It's very evident when someone is looking in from the outside that this kid is not a heel, he's not the good guy. What he is an NPC who got in there and decided to play the role of the prankster because he was encouraged to do it by his bird. It backfired. The internet realized what he was at, pulling all this shit with different fighters, instigated by his missus, and now they don't like him for it. It's kind of as simple as that, and these guys are trying to change the trajectory of that narrative, and it's not working. So you can come up with plans all you want. You can say that a win changes everything.
All you got to do is win in the sport, and just win, baby, and everyone forgets anything. They don't care. Ask John Jones, ask Conor McGregor. Just win. Nobody gives a shit what happens outside the ring if you win.
You serious?
You know, and I know, that ain't true. So this is not another regurgitation of Ian Garry and what he did and everything like that. I just thought it was interesting to show that even the shills, even the biggest supporters of Ian Garry and that mental illness that's going on with that whole scenario, they spotted that this is not working out for him. They just did it in an extremely cocky way. A little annoying kid got caught, got called out, and people reprimanded him and aren't very happy with him. That's the story that should be put out there, not anything else. Let's not overcomplicate it. Let's not say that the internet have turned on him and it's gone against him, and the PR, trash. trash, go look at the video that they're posting on their Instagram and tell me that it doesn't warrant some sort of criticism. Stay out of the dude's career, stay off Instagram, and let's see what happens with him. Because the dude can fight, the dude is a good fighter, just let him fight and just remove the bird out of the situation. And that would pretty much do it. That would do it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Cheers.